We are over halfway through the NFL season. Week 13 is wrapped up. Let's take a look at the games for the week. On Thursday night, the Ravens upset the Steelers in Baltimore 23-17, and Baltimore goes to 7-5 and is now growing their playoff advantage. The Steelers fall to 9-3. Roethlisberger didn't have the best night. Flacco was more accurate and had yet less yardage, but that Baltimore defense was able to hold Pittsburgh in the second half to only 7 points. The Cardinals and the Broncos, the first snow game of the season, was a last-second field goal, and Arizona wins it 26-24. A dramatic game, but Arizona goes to 4-8. Carson Palmer with one turnover. It was early in the fourth quarter, but Larry Fitzgerald, 163 receiving yards, the most out of anyone this year. He almost had more receiving yards than Trevor Siemian had passing yards in the game, but Denver falls to 3-9 with slight playoff hopes. New England, they go to South Florida and win 34-17 after the dramatic game on Thanksgiving last year between these two. Jake Cutler didn't look too well, but he had his most accurate game, though Tom Brady only 7 incompletions and 3 touchdowns, and New England goes to 11-1 and has clinched the NFC East with that win right there and a guaranteed playoff spot. The Falcons, they won 31-27 over the Titans and a slim one in Nashville. They'll host the Saints next week as Matt Ryan threw for 3 TDs, Marcus Mariota 2 turnovers, one of them late in the fourth quarter, which cost the Titans a chance to take the lead. They fall to 5-7, and if they lose one more, they'll have a 500 season at least. So Tennessee, they need to get back on track if they want to make a shot at the playoffs. Tampa Bay, they upset Carolina 28-18, and they have now won 2 in a row as they play the Steelers next week. That'll be a tough one. Fitzpatrick has continued that turnover streak. He'll have to stop that pretty soon if Tampa Bay wants to start winning games. But Carolina, they have all of a sudden became a struggle bus. They need to find something next week against the Redskins. They fall to 7-5. Now their playoff chances are a mere 30% with just a couple weeks left. The Bengals, they put up a fight against the Saints, but it just wasn't enough. Their losing streak goes to now 3 games in a row. They are now 4-8 as Andy Dalton didn't look too bad, but overall they just couldn't keep up. The late fumble in the third quarter was really costly, and the Saints go to 9-3 and continue to lead the NFC South as they'll have a tough game against Atlanta next week. The weather conditions continue to be rough in MetLife Stadium, a rainy day, but the Eagles beat the Giants. The Giants' defense forced a turnover in the third quarter, which tied the game and got them back in the fight. But the Eagles, man, are they a powerhouse. 9-3 this season. The Giants are 3-9, and if they lose to Dallas on Thursday next week, then they are eliminated from playoff contention. Man, this team has gotten close to victory many times this season. How about this showdown in the desert? 42-35, the Rams beat the Cowboys, and now Dallas has gone 1-3 since the suspension of Ezekiel Elliott. Dak Prescott threw for 356 yards, a season high for him. Goff looked really good as well. No turnovers for the Rams, just one for Dallas, that coming in the second quarter. The Rams with 21 points in both halves as they score the most since way back in 2014. How about this upset? The Jets beat the Vikings 33-30 in overtime, and the Vikings have now lost to Denver and the Jets. Man, is this team good, but they can overlook some games. And even worse, Dalvin Cook might be out for the season with a hamstring injury, so that's going to cost. But the Jets just continue to pull off upsets left and right. The Bills was a big upset, and now Minnesota. So they'll play a tougher opponent next week in New England. We'll see if they can pull off that upset. Another upset down in Duval. The Colts win 27-13, and Blake Bortles was absolutely horrible in this game. 2 interceptions. Realistically, should have had a third one if it wasn't for the holding call on defense. But Jacoby Brissett had his best game, and the Colts, man, they're a decent football team, even though they have been stuck in bad situations, but they have a pretty hard schedule, so you can't give them that. The Texans win 35-14 over the Browns. A realistically calm game, no turnovers, nothing much going on. But, man, the offense for Houston was absolutely clicking today. Dak threw for 356, Watson 351, 3 TDs and a rushing touchdown. Deshaun Kaiser wasn't bad, but, the Browns were 2 for 10 on third down, and that really hurt them as they've yet to win a game this season. America's Game of the Week, the Seahawks and the 49ers in a rematch. Seattle gets the best of them this time after San Francisco won in Santa Clara the last time they met. Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan said they don't know if he'll keep the starting job if he keeps losing like this. And Seattle goes to 8-4, and they have a big matchup with the Rams next week for the division lead. That will be a fun one to watch. And then 2 snow games in one Sunday. Lambeau Field was chilling, and 22 degrees, and the Packers know how to win in the cold. 27-10. 1 turnover the entire game, though. Mitch Trubisky was starting to find his rhythm there in the second half, and then all of a sudden, sacks. The Packers got 6 sacks on Trubisky, forced a turnover, and Rodgers was throwing dimes out there. 20 for 32, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So the Packers go to 10-2 on the season. Sunday Night Football, the Chiefs and the Giants both. They have 3 Sunday Night Football games in a row. Kansas City went to Oakland and won 34-26. The Raiders got them last time, but they'll get them this time. Kansas City to 10-2, their best record in a while, as the Raiders have now lost 2 in a row. They'll have to figure out something next week, as Carr with 2 turnovers, and it wasn't pretty this time. The Chiefs definitely got the upper hand on the Raiders. Monday Night Football, the Bills went to Los Angeles and won 31-20 over the Chargers. That had big playoff implications, so puts the Oakland Raiders on the bubble along with Baltimore. Tyrod Taylor with a very nice night. No turnovers. It's just that Buffalo's defense was able to stop the Chargers on drives where the Chargers got past midfield. A couple of penalties hurt the Chargers on first and second down, and in the end, really shooting themselves in the foot, and Buffalo was just able to march down the field and score. The Redskins and the Lions were on a bye week, and therefore no other team will have a bye week from now until the end of the season. AFC standings, New England, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, the division leaders, Baltimore, and Oakland. Positions 7 through 12 can still make the playoffs, make that 7 through 13. Those are all the teams that still mathematically can make the playoffs as we near the end of the season. In the NFC, the Packers are 10-2 and on top. Philadelphia, New Orleans, and the Rams are all at 9-3. Minnesota and Dallas 8-4. Positions 7 through 12 still mathematically have a chance, but it's going to be tough for those Arizona Cardinals to make the playoffs. This is American Sports Coverage, signing off.